Hello, everyone. Welcome to Riding Tiger with Arijit. Well,
Mhm.
for a lot of times, I think I have been talking about riding tiger, and tiger riding is actually entrepreneurship. And a couple of you have asked me, why riding tiger? Why not probably riding a horse? Well, if you're riding a horse, of course, you can probably ask him or her to stop. You can stop anytime. You can come down from the horse's back any given point of time. But if you're riding a tiger, you can't just do that. It's hungry, it's going to kill you. And if you're stopping, of course, that's your business. Either you have to kill it or it will kill you. So every entrepreneur in the world is actually riding a tiger. And today we have two lovely ladies who are doing the same for the last couple of years and running an amazing venture called Swedish Villa. Welcome to my show. Thank you so much for being here. So,
Thank
Nat and
you.
Leila, could you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you guys are doing and how beautiful your business is?
Mm. Wow, thank you. Thank you for having us. First of all, I mean, we're your biggest fans. We think everything you do is so impressive, and we absolutely follow you, everything you post on LinkedIn and what's happening. So I think this initiative is such a great thing for you to be doing. So thank you for that. And I'm Katarina. I'm a business lawyer to begin with. So I come from more private equity, company governance, deal sourcing, everything like that. And then by chance, I met Leila Falkenberg. And she started telling me about what she called her pink baby. So perhaps you tell the story better than I.
Yes, it's actually that we met by coincidence almost. Of course, we were presented during a business breakfast meeting. Somebody said, you two should meet, and we did have a quick lunch, and then I thought, wow, this is somebody I'd like to meet, in a proper meeting. So I approached Katarina. She was sitting in this board at this point, which was a lot about sustainability and impact. So I came to that meeting and I wanted to present something to her. But the meeting ended with her asking me, but what do you really, aim to in life? What's your purpose? What's your passion?
I wasn't interested. In the first startup she presented to me, I wasn't really that excited about it.
So I said that, oh yes, I have this little pink baby. I actually put it that way, and that is that I'd like to give a window to the world for creatives. And show the world that we have a Swedish way of how we work in our flat organizations. We have amazing creatives, and that's what I said.
Yeah.
And then in that exact meeting with a big round table, we were quite far away from each other, and I didn't know Katarina. She put her hand out and said, yes, that's interesting. That one I'm interested in. And when I talk about it now,
Yeah.
I feel that
I do
moment.
as well. Yeah.
You are getting a goosebump, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the thing is that what she talked about was the marketing and communication industry, and everything she said from her experience from the inside, I recognized from the investor side, from the board and the governance side, about frustration, about non-transparency, about misalignment between what the company really going for, the vision, the mission, and the consumer wants, and what the advertising and industry is really driving for. And how we work with budgets, with pitching, and everything like that. I recognized it. So
perhaps I should say also a little bit about my background. So I come from the advertising industry. I'm a commercial film producer. So I do moving content and everything for a lot of brands, and have done for plus 15 years. So I've been working with advertising agencies, with clients, but my knowledge is also that I have worked all the way to the very end, which is what we call service production, which is actually servicing. It's a long chain, as I'm sure some of you know. Servicing production. So I know where to cut the middleman, and I know where it's a waste of the budget, because as we say in the film industry, we need to put the money in front of the camera.
True.
I also worked at the media agencies where you do the media buy, and it's all that knowledge made me realize that this has been going on for too long. Somebody has to disrupt this industry, but I didn't have the partner. I just have the the creative idea, not the business idea behind it.
Yeah, and I think that's and that's something you and I talked about also, the importance of mixing competence, mixing networks, mixing regions, experiences, because that's where the true kind of, when you're building a venture, a startup, it happens when you go outside your comfort zone. You might be really good at what you're doing, but if you don't put other, kind of take that risk and join with others who, we don't always speak the same language. I speak the investor and the business side, and she speaks the commercial and the production side. And that's such a good thing, because then we understand why the client and the advertising and agency aren't really meeting. Because then we can ask all these questions and sort it out and understand what is wrong and why is it that the creatives are so frustrated today.
They are, and it's actually the gap. I was thinking of another business name, Mind the Gap, which was in my mind many years ago, because there is a gap between the creatives and the actual brand owner, the founder, the marketing manager, because there's so many administration in between, and of course a lot of money in between. So somebody who works in the commercial creative industry, they want to work and talk with brands. They want to understand the business. They want the business to thrive, and they need to understand exactly what and where the business is at this point. And today everything is moving so fast. So we saw that many great creatives and strategists and experts, they didn't feel at home at the advertising agencies. They don't thrive there. So during this last year, a lot of things has happened in the business, and we had this model from the start that everybody is independent. Everybody can say no to a project.
Yeah.
All our projects are passion projects, and that's good for everyone.
Yeah, and that also so important, because since our creatives are independent, that means that when we talk to a client, we don't have them on the payroll, so we don't have the pressure to kind of push the one sitting on the bench towards the client. We can be procurement service for the client, saying this is what you need, and we would not recommend that right now, or at this point in time, you probably need to work more with PR instead, because we have no hidden agenda, but to make a good match between the two, because that's when we make a good job. So yeah, no.
I have a small question to ask. Probably I'll direct it to Leila first. Why in the first stage you felt that you need a business partner? You could have done it alone, and then probably, I'm not sure. Is it something that you felt that there is a gap, there is a hollowness, that you need someone who can actually take care of the business, and you understood that that is your strength, that you are more creative, and you need someone on board who can actually understand business? Or is it something else, like you're thinking that, okay, fine, probably from the beginning, if I have someone on board, I can be more relaxed, and I can have a competent person on board with me who can actually take care of the business, and I can probably think of only the creative part? What is the exact
one reason is
Vacation.
Look at her, she wants to answer my question. Look at that. And that's what I love, because we always have each other's back, and we have a different thinking, but we have the same core values. So I actually run 2 businesses before this. I started Sweden's first management for cinematographers 6 months before the one who is still the biggest today started. I started the first company that had agency producers as a business model. But what I did then is that I started the company They were both females, female funded companies, actually, and nobody talked about that at that time. But they were the same persons as me with the same network, similar backgrounds. And that was, I didn't, want to go, I didn't want to go back to that because that doesn't work if you want to go global. So for me, this was a super match just because we're different. We have two networks, and 2 + 2, it's it grows. So that's why
it's not in entrepreneurship.
It's the strength is to find somebody who has a different experience and a different network.
Of course. Yeah. And why did you say yes to her? What actually came in your mind?
Yeah, actually, that's such a good question. Since she did present something else, and I did get other offerings or suggestions, as you do when you're a business lawyer, of course, because you can apply to any industry. But something about how she said it, the honesty, it was a mix with the values, the honesty, the competence, and that I really saw that there is a gap in the market. I really understand what we will offer the world and how we will work together. So all of those, and also just pure intuition.
Super.
Just feeling like, okay, let's go.
I'll actually tell something to the audience, because I'm gonna, of course, put it in all our social media all across. This is what I always prefer. I always ask people to find out your best match in business, club it together, handshake with each other, and grow. That's the way to grow a company. I'm really blessed and happy that I'm talking to both of you, and you guys are doing massive work. Could you please probably tell our audience what all you have done so far, like maybe a few examples of 1 or 2 business cases wherein you are executing. She's acting, of course, as a creative person, and you are acting probably as the business person. I'll tell you the reason. The reason I'm asking you this, because a lot of people, a lot of us are not coming from the media background. So like when we tie up with probably a movie production house, and we produce game for them. I mean, we did multiple successful title in our last 23 years journey. So I have my teammates who are actually doing some kind of deal flow with them, and we understand the complexities where they're coming from. Of course, complexity comes from the actor actress, it comes from the business side, it comes from the marketing channels, it is coming from the sponsors. There is a whole lot of ecosystem. It's a completely entire different ecosystem which people need to understand. The media industry doesn't mean what you are watching on the TV or movie theater hall. There's a large amount of business that's happening in the background. Could you please enlighten us maybe with one single test case about what you have executed? Maybe one interesting one to the audience.
I'm thinking perhaps either Thailand or the EU election. What do you think? EU election perhaps is a good example about.
Yeah, you want to?
We have a hard time choosing now.
I think well, I can take the EU election. We did this for the party for the EU election, and one of our experts, a creative director, he's also a copywriter, came up with this idea to be very bold and have a little comedy added into this. And this was actually the first time in Sweden that comedy was used for an election film. So we did a series of those, and then we produced the films directly for the client, because we do if they ask us. Otherwise, we can be the executive and procure it for them. So that was a very successful campaign.
Yeah, and that's also when you look at the business side, because humor is typically something that people need when you address complex issues, but everybody had played it so safe. And then when we had our creative director, who's extremely impressive with his track record, he had the experience to understand and dare to go where nobody else had went. And this person, because it was a person campaign, He got the most votes out of all, so he kind of won the election, or he did. So it was a huge, huge success. And that's such an interesting way in just matchmaking with the right experience, the right experts. That's what you're talking about when starting a business. It's the same when addressing a marketing and communication challenge, or you want to grow your business. You need to have the right competence come in and help you. If you have the biggest budget in the world for marketing communication, and I've seen it a million times, startups that get funded beyond belief. And I mean, I'm not going to be, but what happens perhaps is that you just spray out advertising and marketing and all of the budget, and then you come for a Series A and you have the VCs backing you up, and you keep on, and then dead halt. Because nothing really happened. It was just spinning wheels, just spraying, and there was no contact with the creatives, with what you really did with that budget. When you try to scale, because if you're going to scale, you need to communicate, you need to reach out.
I'm thinking of something. Sorry.
Yes, please.
Can I just add one thing? The matchmaking, this is actually our core, because a lot of times the client has been relying on the advertising agency to come up with ideas and debriefing and rebriefing and everything. They never met the actual creative. So we are matchmakers, but also advisors. But perhaps you need a copywriter. No, I'm not going to write a text. Yes, but it's all about your wording in this way that you communicate, which means that we can have a team, our satellite teams, because they're all satellite teams, of 2 people. We don't need the full setup of a big table to work for the client to make something happen. So it's a different way of working, to go sort of behind the scene from the start, to listen in.
And that's one thing also that we can tell, that if you come in early, then you use your budget in such a smarter way, and you get so much more results.
That's basically your USP, I believe. And
exactly.
I don't feel that a lot of companies are doing it. Probably you are one of the first, and you are the pioneer into this. And it's true, Leila, that and Kat, that a lot of startups, they don't know their customer acquisition cost.
No.
And when they get the funding,
exactly,
they actually invest a lot of money on advertising. Probably they never back calculate. They never have that kind of data. So I'm really, really happy that you are addressing that. And of course, we are probably solving, and I hope we can see a next unicorn, and that's making Swedish.
Okay. Absolutely. We're global and we have no limits.
No. And also, I just like to make a shout out, because one of the things that is a proof of that, I believe, is the kind of creatives we have on board today. They come to us, and if you look at their track record, and also their values, how they are in discussions, how they truly want to make a result and effect and help the clients. And I mean, they've done all of the big global brands and everything, and they love a real founder, an authentic company, something where they can really make a difference. And I mean, with them, how can we fail, right?
Yes, and what we do to set that person, the client, the founder, the CEO, or the marketing or the MCO in a chair with the expert, a strategist, a creative, or both. That is what makes the difference. And if I may mention some clients that our experts work with, it's a lot of car brands. It's Mercedes, it's Bentley. They worked with Spotify. They worked with IKEA. I work with IKEA myself. Carlsberg. I mean, to mention the big brands, and also up and coming Swedish brands, and also unicorns, Klarna, for instance, and banks, all the big banks in the Nordic banks. And it doesn't stop, and governments and organizations, and of course, a lot of do good work, as we always have that as a part of what we do.
Super. So from actually for audience and for both of you, from WLS ecosystem, we are actually raising a couple of companies, probably giving them great amount of market connect. For an example, we are working with few bit of people from Croatia. They are from the cluster of wineries. We are trying to expand their business and, of course, connecting with a couple of other parts of India and in Australia. There are business that's happening from Vietnam. There are things that's happening probably, if I'm not wrong, from Mauritius. So all these things that's happening in the inside the ecosystem, and I believe that if we can have your service over there, these guys who are looking for brand building probably have a boom, and probably they can grow faster. So we are going to put this news to all our subscribers and our members, and hopefully that we can have something amazing happening with each other. But before we end, I would love to go with a rapid fire. I'm going to ask you one single question, and both of you or any one of you can answer that. I would love if you can both answer. So here it goes. Are you ready?
Yep.
Honesty.
Yes.
What comes in your mind? Honesty.
Her.
Good results, good karma.
Color.
Green.
Batman or Superman?
Yellow.
Superman.
Superman.
Superwoman.
Okay. Football or cricket?
Football.
Fighting.
Mhm.
I'm not obeying by the rules, am I? I'm being honest.
No, no, no.
She can do it. She's a lawyer.
Unicorn or 10x return after 4 years?
Oh God, unicorn.
I
That's a
would-
tough one.
I was waiting a little bit, you
Yeah.
see, but I would go for unicorn because they're beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I love them. They look so funny.
Mhm. Favorite animal?
Pardon?
Favorite animal?
Horses, of course. Race horses.
You?
Horses. Horses.
Oh, wow. Common.
Because that makes her happy.
What is truth?
Oh.
It's your genuine gut feeling spoken out.
Kind honesty. But kind is as important as honesty.
Okay, I'll go deep into this question.
Yep.
Is it kind of honesty, or is it a happiness inside your own mind when you act or react and you get a happiness inside your mind and your heart? You feel that that's the truth. Or,
Yeah.
or if you probably have done something remarkable, which is like amazing, and everyone is applauding that you have done something amazing. That's truth. Which one will you prefer?
The first one. Undoubtedly.
Absolutely the first one. And
Yeah.
it's always a moment. And it's when you've listened in and when you touched somebody or got touched by somebody, you know,
Yeah.
in the feelings or in the moment.
Yeah.
It could be a short moment that gives you happiness. And nature, I need to add.
What is God for you? Both of you.
Nature.
Good karma.
What do you mean by karma?
Good karma, I think you give what you get in the long run. The kind honesty, work ethics, good values, trying to do good. I really think that will pay off in the end. I think there's a lot of competition out there, and I think that if you keep your head high and really, if you know yourself that you have good intentions, people will come back and the results will come. I truly believe that.
Amazing, amazing. You know what? I'm loving loving this discussion, and would love to continue probably this conversation, not in this format, but probably in a different format, maybe on a personal note basis. But for everyone's sake, if you look at these two ladies, they are actually doing things because they believe in it, and they have a happiness inside their own mind, in their own heart, and which is creating a beautiful bond with each other, right?
Yes.
That's what we call finding a co-founder. That's what we call creating and raising a baby. Thank you so much for being here and talking with me and sharing the beautiful insights to the world. Thank you so much. Stay safe and stay blessed.
Thank you. You're amazing. You are
Stay
amazing.
safe.
Thank you. You rock.
Thank you.